Welcome to the Depressy podcast.
I'm Missy.
And I'm Allie.
And we're sisters
in the mental health field.
Talking about all things stressy
and depressy. Hello, Missy. Oh, yes.
Disclaimer.
I always forget. Disclaimer, and I don't think it's going to be super relevant for this episode, but this is not mental health advice. This is just for fun, and we're just chatting. And you should always seek advice from your own doctor or therapist. Pretty much sums it up.
Exactly. Okay.
I feel like you have to go because there's like
I know.
current stressy in your life.
Mine is a long. If you're a Depressy listener, you may have been following this saga of the mouse that we saw last time. It's been a little bit of time. We've been traveling for a little bit. We arrived back today a couple hours ago, and we did see some mouse droppings. And we were like, okay, we're just gonna choose to not engage with this right now.
But like
in
on
our
the
kitchen,
counter, or
like
on the
where
floor?
we saw.
Okay.
No, on the couch.
Any because when we had a mouse, we literally saw like chew holes through like some of the perishable bags we had. So we now like only have perishables.
We are gonna
up on like a high shelf in like bags and stuff.
Yeah, we're a little too scared to investigate that right now, because basically the part 2 is that Jacob was going to give our dog Sadie a bath, and we have this little like jug that we use to like pour water on her that's in one of our lowdown cabinets. So he goes to open the cabinet and get out this jug, and there's a lot of other things, like we have like a blender in like immersion blender with a long black cord. So that falls out, and it kind of looks like a long tail, right? But he sees all this movement in there, and that thing falls. And so he's like, I think I saw something. I could have just seen the cord to this thing and gotten spooked and whatever. But I will say there are mouse droppings in that lowdown cabinet.
Disinfect everything.
So I think it's... Yeah, I know. That goes without saying, but right now we're too scared to open that cabinet.
Ask Sadie to do it.
So literally, we're like, girl, she's just on the couch, just no cares in the world. Like, she is not even engaging. We're like, this is your moment. Like, what are you doing?
I'm gonna say that my stressy depressy is about Sadie. It's a realization.
What's your stressy depressy?
About Sadie. I know. Okay, Sadie's backstory is that she's a rescue from Korea.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Korean rescue that brings dogs
from South Korea
over, whatever, to the U.S.
Yes.
So Missy got Sadie through that, and her backstory was like she was on this farm. She was rescued from a farm. Now, the way Missy and I interpret it was like she was working hard on that farm. Like, so it was abusive.
Like, they were abusing her.
It wasn't good, but it was like
they
she had
like
overalls on and like a straw hat. There were pigs
and cows. Like, this was our idea of what was happening.
Having to do so much labor. Like, I don't know what I actually thought. I thought that she was just like a guard dog and like had to do a lot of guarding.
I thought that the farmer was abusive to her, and that already was horrible. But she was rescued from there. Now, another backstory that maybe some listeners know, maybe you don't. We didn't really know about this until we got Sadie. Was that in South Korea there is a black market food trade with dogs. It's illegal there, but it is something that does occur.
Not
and so we knew that some
illegal.
Of the dogs.
Did you know that? Yeah, no. Yeah, I was looking into it. So they technically passed a law, I think a couple years ago, that makes it illegal to like sell and breed dogs for the purpose of dog meat. However, this like wouldn't fully go into effect, I think, until next year, because it was going to allow these farms to like transition to a different form of income, but it is still legal to eat dogs. Just like the sale of them on this scale is not legal, and the breeding for this. Anyway, spoiler alert, we found out that Sadie is from a dog farm.
A dog
literally
farm. We didn't
bred to be meat eaten, was kept outside in the cage in the cold and rain. terrible.
Yeah. It sort of feels like when you're when you're a kid and like you're told, oh, your pet went to a farm, and like you grow up and you're like, oh my gosh, that means they
Yeah.
died. Like you like put it together. Like we had one of those same moments realizing that basically what happened was like we like encounter all these people like when we go to the dog park here or whatever, and we're like getting to talking about her, and we're like, actually she's a rescue from Korea. And one person just happened to say to us, oh, I actually have a friend who did that, and her dog was on one of those farms. And this light bulb just went off in my head where I was like, oh my God, that's what they meant when they said farm. A dog farm.
She was just
and maybe this was obvious to everyone else.
Was being worked really hard. Was just having to plow and I don't know what. I just didn't think about it too deeply. Ugh.
I didn't think too hard about it. I just was like, they don't know that much about her backstory, but it was just bad. So it's really horrible, and it makes me so
it's
mad.
Terrible. Missy said she would kill those people if she saw them.
In reality, knowing myself, I don't think I'd be capable of that.
I understand.
But you have the instinct. Like, if someone wants to harm your baby, like you are fighting tooth and nail. Like it makes me so angry. It just yeah. What can you do? Yeah. Anyway, so that's your stressy depressing.
Yeah. No, I genuinely was like freaking out about that yesterday when I was telling everyone. I was like, did you know she's from a farm? Like a dog farm? Ugh. And she's so meek.
Yeah. She's so
gooey
like how could anyone ever?
She literally is also a very skinny dog. Like what kind of meat is anyone getting?
I know. And I'm aware of this a certain level of hypocrisy that lots of other animals are cute and
dogs
we eat them.
Are different. Okay.
Obviously. It's more so that she's my dog and I love her so much, and I just can't even fathom someone wanting to kill her. That it just makes me so angry. And I do think that obviously they're kept in really horrible conditions. And so that makes me obviously just so mad and sad for what all those dogs go through. But including especially her, because she's mine. Anyway.
Cassie's from a rescue. My cat, she was one day away from being put down. She was in a high kill shelter in Louisiana. And they rescued her. How could she's so fluffy? How did they not see that she was... How come no one wanted her? But she came back to her mommy. She was like, oh, there's my mommy. Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway, should we transition? I think that was like the quickest stressy depressies that we've ever done.
I know. I feel like maybe there's some space for catch-ups on seasonal affective experiences. Just check in about how you're doing, because we've changed the clocks for a little bit. I know we had our episode on that,
but I think the true test is always like after the holiday season for me. Although I will say I think it used to be like more of a switch. But I don't know. I've been really doing okay. And I have been for the past like few years, I would say, with the time change. I think I'm on like a good medication regimen in general to keep me very stable.
No, that's very real.
But yeah, I think something that's been fun and like a rethinking is Lucas likes this time of year, and he really like leans into the fact that this is like, oh, it's so cozy that it's getting like dark at 5 p.m. Let's watch a TV show. And I think that in other times in my life, though, I haven't been able to indulge that as much because I like have so much work. But now as a fourth year and like not having as much going on, I'm like, yes, let's just like binge some TV show. We're watching The Walking Dead right now because it's dark out, and we'll get cozy and we'll shower early and just get in on the couch and bundle up in blankets. Like, let's drink hot cocoa. Let's do all the things. So I feel like getting into that season stuff is good. But once it's like over with the holidays and just cold and wet and it's, that's hard.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. I always feel similarly. I feel like people in their brains think about winter as like December, and I always feel like I'm like that is just the beginning and actually the easiest part.
Yes.
Because once it's January, all the fun stuff is done. All the even like lights and
Mm-hmm.
decorations outdoors that make it a bit lighter go away, and you're left with it's just cold for like, especially in the Northeast, it's cold for like
I
3 to 4
know.
more months. We're not nearing the end
I
at all at
know.
that point. But I feel like people are like, okay, TikTok, when's spring? And people like always expect that it's coming sooner. We'll get one warm day in February and people are like, it's time for spring. And I'm like, we're going to get snow again. Like, it's
I
just,
think
we're
this
not
winter
done.
is going to go like
But
fast and slow at the same time because I have something that I'm very
that's
looking
true this
forward
year for
to,
you.
which is
Yeah.
my wedding in April, honeymoon, and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
But then there's also something that I really like. I feel like when you're looking forward to something, it goes really slow and fast at the same
Because
time.
you just want it to
But
come
then
sooner.
with
Yeah.
the fact
Yeah.
that there's so much to do between now and then, I feel like it'll go quick. Like just in terms of like I'm already being like, oh my gosh,
Right.
we really have to like nail some things down, like for the wedding, like transportation, like things like that we have to get like done because it feels like it's
Yeah.
coming.
Even like, yeah.
I
Even
know.
invites and stuff. Like, not that you have to be
No,
sending
definitely.
them right now, but I remember it took a while to like
Oh
get
my
them printed
gosh.
properly. You get everyone's like
Everything
addresses
is like
correct and
such
all
a
of that.
process. Like, okay, if you're not super careful, it's not. But if you're any iota careful, things are such a process because you have to combine things from both families, and usually you, as one person, do not know
Yeah.
the proper spelling and proper address and everything for every single person. So you have to like go through the list, make sure everyone's like addressed correctly. You like finalize that list, right? And like, oh my gosh, and then the
Yeah.
like putting in the envelopes and oh my gosh, it sounds like that's what I'm saying.
Even
It
stuffing
sounds
the
like not that
envelopes took
long
a
of a
long
time, but like
time.
the save
Yeah.
the dates took like a whole like we were like and mom wanted them to look really nice, so like we're like putting the stamps on perfect and then like pressing them flat like between books so that they like perfectly stay sealed, and then mom took them to the post office to be like hand canceled, and it's just like oh my gosh, the you
Yeah.
place the order too and like of like a sample, and then you get the
Ugh.
sample and you're like oh I don't like this about it. It's like a week between everything, and then you
Right.
order it and it takes like a week and a half to get to you. Like there is it's nothing is
Yeah.
immediate with these invites. Oh my gosh, the thing that's stressing me out is I need to get the cake. That's stressing me out, but
Wait, whatever
I
happened? I
know
feel like
it's I
forever
just
ago you were
like they
talking about
got
the
back to me for like
designer or
3 months and I
whatever.
was like I need to like email them back, but whatever.
Okay.
Yes, that the shuttles.
I'll bake you a cake.
I think I'm okay even like not having a cake. I just want this specific designer's cake or like bakery's cake. I think
Fair
they're
enough.
so pretty.
Fair enough.
So yeah, there's that. So I think it's like it's gonna there's a lot of events, there's bridal shower, bachelorette party. There's a lot of things we need to do. It is like about to be that
Yeah.
season. But yeah, we need to send out the invites for the bridal shower. Oh my gosh. Think about that.
Yeah. That'll be exciting. That is kind of not really coming up, but it'll be
It's
here before we
weird
know it,
because
I
to
think.
me, I think I'm like, I just like talk about things with people. So I told all my bridesmaids and I told like, I feel like a lot of people on our side of the family knows about the bridal shower. But then I was talking to Lucas's mom this morning. She was like, are you doing anything like that? I was like, oh shoot, forgot to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tough when you're just kind of verbally coordinating with people and yeah, there's a lot of moving
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah, so that's what's I thought I was done with interviews, but then I got one more. So I have one in
Yeah.
December. Missy's just started to get a few interviews.
I just got a few
Too.
trickling in before the Thanksgiving break,
I
which
feel
was
like next week or the week
exciting.
after is gonna be big for
So,
you.
yeah, I actually think tomorrow is going to be like a big day, and people don't know when we're filming this, and I'm kind of purposely keeping it a little vague. And it's funny because I actually have an interview all day tomorrow, so I'm a little like I'm actually worried I'm gonna like get out of this interview and be like
Is it
locked out of all the
similar to
interview
us how, like,
times
you
because
wanted?
you got to sign up
Do
for a
they use
time like right
Thalamus?
away. No, we use I don't even know what it's
Oh,
called. It's like
I don't know.
NMS or
But yeah,
something. Yeah.
Thalamus is what we use. It's like, I feel like I didn't know this
I'm actually
for what?
familiar with that because my friend who applied to residency, who you know, basically when she was applying, she had a similar situation to me where she had an interview all day on a day that she suspected some invites to be coming out. And she asked me to like
Oh,
log
right. I
into all
remember
of her
this.
accounts for her so that I could accept an interview if it came through. And so I'm like, remember like going into all the systems and just being like, I'm ready. Like I'm
I
gonna,
now I remember feeling
but
like, oh my God, I need to respond to these interview invites right away. And it's just not that deep. Like they have to provide the amount of like they cannot over invite. So
no, I know that, but it's just tough because like, okay, let's say every site offers like two
no.
dates,
Well,
then
med school
you
offers, not
might
med school, but
get
residency
a lot of
offers typically much more than 2 dates. It'll be like 10 or so.
yeah. Sometimes there's
But
more. It's just there's a lot of
no, I
shared
agree that there's a lot of
dates.
shared
Yeah.
dates and the calendar management. I will just say, like, advice for anyone that is going to go through it or will go, like, this is like literally the most tangible advice is to download the Thalamus app before you get interviews. I didn't even know what Thalamus was. No one like sits you down and is like, so this is the platform that interviews are
Yeah.
mostly going to use. So get that app, download it. That is like, you'll log into your AMC account through that, and interview invites will just like populate when you get them. You'll like get an email, but like you can also just go right into your app and do it. And then the second thing is to like, I think in the beginning, it's like comes starts slowly and then goes all at once, and put things on the calendar immediately. You do not know how quickly
Yeah.
overwhelming things get so quickly, like because many times you have at least 2 events for each program, which is like the interview day and the social hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And that truly like it, that calendar management of like getting an invite, having to really quickly check your calendar, cross dates, like what dates are available, is kind of crazy. So yeah, make sure you're really putting exact times on the calendar. The email management is also kind of crazy because sometimes some of them will just send out like individual Zoom links for like each of their 10 sessions, and you're like searching for them.
Yeah.
Create a system. That would be my
I know. I already have a little bit of that where some sites like there's one Zoom link for the interview that like is in the interview invite and that like directly links to your calendar. And then sometimes they like send you a Word document with like all these
well, that's
individual
nice.
links.
It's
And then sometimes they then send a follow-up email and they're like, actually, here's a different link for this one. And then so you're like, okay, now I have to edit the Word doc or like whatever. So I could right now it's manageable because I only have a few, but like
it gets so
I
crazy.
feel like it's about to get
People,
out
and
of
I do think
control.
it's important to take notes. Something that I did because it was hard to like type on my computer as I was like in an interview. I didn't do so much, but I would sometimes write briefly, like jot something down. I had like my notebook out during my interviews, just like taking
I'll do that
detailed
probably.
notes.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you will forget these, you will, but I will say I am able to distinctly remember most times the program director, if I met with them, kind of what the vibes were. And yeah, my overall feeling is still like, I remember how I felt about this because of XYZ reason. Like the big things that are
Yeah.
important to me
Yeah.
do stand out. It's not like, oh my gosh, they all blend together. People say like, I don't remember anything
No,
about
that
it,
makes
but
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's a little different with that. I've had that before though, where I've like been in interviews for different things and it feels so like you're going to remember it in the moment, especially if you're asking a specific question that's important to you. But if you've asked it to like multiple people at multiple sites, like I do feel like sometimes you go back and you're like, wait, what was their answer for
Yeah.
that thing? Or So it's helpful
I
to
feel like I could
just,
give
yeah,
so much advice for the interview trail for residency about questions to ask, because I think that you just
yeah,
like don't know what you don't know. So it's like you can ask about call schedule and they might give you an answer, but that there might be elements of things that you don't even know to ask about a call schedule. So for example,
yeah,
what
yeah, I can
happens if you're
imagine.
sick? Who covers sick call? Like some programs it's like
Right,
an attendant covers, and some programs like another person has to come in and cover you. Another thing is programs will say
right.
like you might not take psychiatry, which is what I'm applying, psychiatry call, like asking, do you take psychiatry call during off service rotations? Or do you take off service call while you're on off service rotations? So like there's a lot of like nitty gritty questions that like someone just answering a,
Yeah,
oh yeah, we do 3 weekends a
yeah,
month, you have like one day and you have like one golden, but not really understanding. Also, like people can say, oh, we have a night float system, and you might think, oh, so they don't do 24-hour shifts. That's not true, because usually night float is like typically it'll be like Sunday night through Friday night. So then they need Saturday through like Sunday covered. So there'll be like a Sunday day shift and then usually like a Saturday 24-hour call or something like that. So don't be fooled. Like you have to ask specific questions, because even if there's a night float system, there might still be 24-hour call. So anyway, I could go on and on. This is probably very boring for everyone else, but I have found like in both listening to other applicants ask questions, or sometimes when you're in an interview, the residence or program will highlight a specific benefit of that program, and you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't even think to ask like this
to ask
other
about this,
program
another,
if,
yeah,
you know, X, Y, and Z, whatever. If like, yes, they only do 12-hour call, but is that ever after an already 12-hour shift? That's 24 hours. Like there's a lot.
right,
Yeah, you have
right.
to get
No, that
some
makes
nitty gritty.
sense.
So anyway, just
I know. I kind of feel that way going into like my first interviews. I'm like, you tell me about your program. I don't really have any like strong questions quite yet. But and honestly, some of the real questions that I have, I feel like it's tricky to like
yeah,
ask sometimes because it you don't want to come off a certain way. So like the things that I'm like most wondering about, I don't even know. Whatever. We'll see. I'm sure I'll get to the place that you're in. It's interesting going in because like Thanksgiving weekend, I like saw some people like family or friends who listened to our podcast, and it was so interesting because they actually all had a good background. They were like, you're applying
wow,
to residency or what is it called for you again, but like they knew that, obviously I'm not expecting people to know the exact names of everything, but it was so interesting. I feel like this was like seeing your family on Thanksgiving is sometimes like it can be such a broken record of like reminding everyone what it
yes,
is that you do, and which is so fair because that's me for everyone else. But um it was such an interesting device where like I think at this point our listeners are pretty much only friends and
yes.
family, and when we saw some of those people, they like knew exactly what it
No,
is
that is
that we
so
were
cool. I've
doing,
had a
which is so
few
funny.
instances like that where I'm telling someone something and they're like, oh, I know because of the podcast. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so fun and also like wild, but it's a fun way, I do think, to keep family and friends updated on our process. And yeah,
Yes, I actually feel like that's been the main function of this podcast so far. Is like I don't know. Again, if you're listening to this and you
can you
don't know us
please
in real
comment
life,
or
please
even
give us a
like,
shout because
just like it?
we
Okay,
get some
that's
Instagram. We
fine.
get Instagram likes from people we don't know.
Drop an
But I mean, I
emoji.
think like if you drop an emoji, drop anything on our Spotify, because we'd love to hear from you. But at this point, I'm the only people I know of who are engaging with especially our full podcast episodes, are people we know in real life. And it's just funny. They've even said like, it's kind of just nice to like know what you're up to and like feel like, even if we don't get to talk all the time, that I have a sense of what, is going on in your life. So,
I can't
um,
wait to.
yeah.
There's like some. I feel like I'm excited to talk about some interview things after match. both like in great
Yeah.
things and negative things, like that I want other people to like think about and like hear about, and that's definitely something I feel like I could talk more about after match.
Yeah.
But I just want to be like fair to all the programs and all that.
Not yet.
Um,
Yeah.
I would say
No,
my
that makes
only
sense.
like red flag, but I think that like in general, I don't think anyone would disagree with this, is if a program specifically talks bad about another program in an interview setting. I just
Yeah.
think that is in like such poor taste. I don't know why I like need to.
That's a really interesting. I'm curious, like, where
A lot
that
of
would
times
even
it's
come from in the
comparing
interview to
specific
feel
things.
moved.
Like, oh, we
Like at X program, they do
like
this,
I'm trying to like just
and
make
here
up an
we don't,
example
or
just because
something.
I don't even want to like. Okay, like I'll be like, well, like for our call shifts, it's not great, but it's not as bad as this program that's like also nearby. And it's like
Yikes.
that is such a weird thing to say. Like
Yeah. That's interesting. And who knows? It's also really hard to tell. I've talked to people who, I don't know, at least on the internship side, like have said that they've occasionally been to interviews where you're meeting the people you're meeting with may or may not be a central part of the
I
internship
agree. Yeah.
experience. So it truly might be a rando who works there who says something that's like kind of strange, but actually most people are really not like that, and that's not the vibe at all. And it just so happens that on your interview day,
No,
that's
for
like
sure.
something
I
that
mean,
you
like
hear.
for medical school,
So
I just
tough.
know like we have a ton of student interviewers at my school, and like I think we
Yeah.
have like such a great class at medical school, but there's always, a couple of people that you would wonder about how they might represent your school, right? And it's
Yeah, and it's not representative
yeah, that
of
they
the
might be
rest
a
of
little
the
bit, not
totally.
representative of everyone. And same with like faculty, like,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
not I've never seen or interacted with the faculty member that was my student or was my interviewer for medical school. I do think typically
Right.
residency is like a smaller process. And to me, the most important interviews are with the program director, sometimes assistant program director. For me, because I'm interested in child and adolescent
Yeah.
psychiatry, if there's any kind of like person that is the program director for that fellowship or very involved in that, that's important to me. And then also a current
Okay.
resident. The other people I kind of take with a grain of salt. Like if there's
Yeah.
faculty members that work in this one specific area and they are not like involved in curriculum. They do teach, but they're not like, you will see them at this one elective during third or fourth year. That is like, of course it's
Right.
great when it's great, and it has been really great sometimes. I'm like, whoa, I can't wait for this experience at this program. But other times it's like, that was
Right.
a little strange. But I take it with a grain of salt because, like, how much are you going to be interacting with someone?
Yeah.
And I do believe it's like, okay, no matter what, like, it would be crazy to have, like, a great interview with, like, usually you're having around 5 interviews in a day, like, with every single person.
Right.
So I do
Right.
try to, like, yeah, keep, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I know. I'm curious to
I
start
can't
reporting
wait
on
for
how
you
it's
to
going
just
for
like
me,
rip off
but
a couple of the band-aids. Like, I can't believe that I've gone through the process almost, because it is just like you stare it
Yeah.
down. Like from the moment you get into medical school, you're like staring down this time and you like hear about it.
same. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, it's
oh my
crazy.
gosh.
So,
I remember for like my
yeah,
first
I'm
2
excited.
interviews, maybe like 3 interviews, I think. I was like shaking in my boots before. And then
That's about to be me. I'm worried I'm going to have a little repeat of your mouse
Oh my gosh.
situation.
I've told this
during
story,
my
yeah.
interview, because I'm like, yeah, you told it last time. Anyway, I feel like now, okay,
I
we were
know.
like,
I
oh, we were
can
so quick with our
yap.
check-ins,
I
and now
can
we've been
yap.
gabbing for
Okay,
forever.
so it is the holiday
Um,
time. So I feel
the
like we have
holiday
talked about this in
season.
general of just like growing up Jewish, now being adults, what married slash engaged to people who are not Jewish.
Were you about to
Yes.
say fiancéed?
I don't know what I was going to say. betrothed.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In our relationship with people who do not celebrate Hanukkah or whatever and celebrate Christmas. And I think
Who are
the most
who celebrate
important
Christmas.
thing is that they celebrate Christmas. Like I would say
Yeah.
it's really hard to explain what it's like to grow up only celebrating Hanukkah, but reiterating to other people that Hanukkah is not that big of a deal. That, like, yes, it's fun, but, like,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, are you going home for Hanukkah? Or, like, blah, blah. I'm like, it's not that deep.
Yeah,
it's,
like, no.
just a fun little, like, fun thing that you can do. It's mostly for little kids. Like,
I describe it to people as similar. I mean, obviously it's a completely different holiday, but in terms of like ranking and vibe and importance, I describe it in the analog in American culture to Halloween, where it's most fun when you're a kid. I would be sad as an adult if I didn't do anything for it. Like, I still want to celebrate Halloween, but if I'm not going home to my parents for Halloween, that's okay. like I don't
did you get something for Halloween?
It's not a super deep like, holiday.
It can just, at points in your life,
it's okay.
really not be that big of a deal, but maybe you'll put on some decorations still, and maybe you'll do stuff.
Yeah, and you're going to have maybe a little party in your workplace, or people will come in a little dressed up, or they're going to be handing out candy. Like, I think obviously, and you know, this can vary depending on who you talk to, but I think like most Jews will celebrate Hanukkah, of course, in some way, but it's a very minor holiday.
I think that people in an effort to be inclusive, which I do appreciate, it's lumped into
it
the
comes
winter
from a good
holidays. Place. Again, nice. But people will like put so much. It's like almost like overdo it. Like, what are you doing for Hanukkah? Or, like all this stuff. Like,
I'll like wish people a Merry Christmas at a Christmas event that I'm attending, and they'll be like, Happy Hanukkah, like very seriously.
Just say Happy Holiday. It is nice, but I do think that people take it very seriously.
Yeah. And it's coming from a good place, and it's not like I walk away from that. I walk away from that thinking like that's a very
but it is not a religious holiday either. That's another important thing. Like, it is.
Well, it's religious. It's just not. It's not a biblical holiday.
It is just a traditional one. Like, it is a cultural one. It's not, again, a biblical holiday like what you're saying. There's no like, God is not commanding you to celebrate this. Like,
well, I do think, whatever, you could quibble. I think like I do think that it is like, whatever, if you believe it, you could get into a whole thing about like what different Jews believe, but I think that it is something that is a part, like, if you're Jewish,
so
whatever, you're like supposed to celebrate it.
So many other Jewish holidays.
It's not a biblical holiday, so it really just doesn't hold the same weight as some of our other holidays.
This is then sidestepping too.
Yeah.
My biggest identity growing up was not that I celebrated Hanukkah. It was that I didn't celebrate Christmas. So we were like some of the only Jews in town. Both parents are Jewish, grandparents, everyone in the family is Jewish. Like, there was no Christmas. I would say as we got a little bit older, we started going to like our second cousin's house that celebrate Christmas. But it's very much the vibe of like, I have been invited to your birthday party. At no point do I think I'm celebrating my own birthday, or in this, metaphor, my own holiday. I'm going over because it's your birthday party. And I'm celebrating
and I'm
with
celebrating
you
with
for
you.
your holiday. So we never had this. We didn't get like presents on Christmas. Like, there was no meaning for us. Like, it was just a casual, like, we'd go over there because they had like a little party going on. So it was okay, obviously. Then I'm in a relationship with someone who grew up, celebrating Christmas. He is not religious, but that is a huge part of his identity, that he celebrates Christmas. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. Not because it's different going to someone else's house and celebrating, again, their birthday, their holiday.
Yeah.
But bringing it in to your house and, you know, having a Christmas tree in your house, and the idea that my kids would grow up celebrating Christmas. Again, it feels like my identity is that I am not Christian. Like, that is the identity. I think I know I have a Jewish background. I know that we celebrate those holidays, but the bigger part of me is that I am not all of these other things. So the idea...
Well, especially when that's really the dominant culture around you. I think, like, especially growing up, that was just such a thing. I remember having to, like, convince people in my
they didn't believe
class.
us.
Like, they didn't believe me that I didn't
They would call us
celebrate
liars.
Christmas.
They felt like, but doesn't Santa come to your house? Like, there was just a lack of understanding. So it, like, really built this identity of, like, I am different from you, and, like, this is why. So anyway, I did it for a while. We would go to Lucas's house. I think I would go, like, Christmas Eve, and maybe his parents would get me some gifties. I would get him some gifties. Eventually it transitioned that I would go to his parents' house as well for Christmas, which meant that they would be giving me Christmas presents and I would be giving them Christmas presents, and, like, all of a sudden I'm, like, celebrating Christmas, and it feels so weird. But again, it's very different than having Christmas in your house. But guess what I just set up downstairs?
Yeah.
A Christmas tree.
A Christmas tree? I actually we have, like, a mini one. Like, it's, like, not even, it's literally just, like, a $10 thing from Target. Like, but I did just put it up in
We've had one for a while. I will say it's decked out in, I would say, like, 70% like menorahs, and I know Mom actually got this it's like literally has like a Jewish star as the topper, has all these like blue and white lights going around it.
Okay,
because we're like using all these Hanukkah decorations to fill the tree, so it really is like a holiday tree. But in my eyes, it's like Christmas tree's a Christmas tree. Like, you're bringing in Christmas into the house, which doesn't feel as weird until I think about the idea of, like, my kids having that experience. Because I am okay in my identity of, like, knowing that it doesn't feel like it's ever going to be my holiday. You know? Like, I'm not really buying the wrapping paper that, like, has Santa's on it. But the idea that my kids are like, going to celebrate Christmas, that's hard to swallow.
I know. It's really hard to explain to people who aren't in this boat, and also without, like, I also, like, I think it's, like, I want to be, of course, like, respectful of the holiday. It's not anything that I believe is wrong or anything like that. It's just, it's really anything that, like, I don't know if you can imagine you just imagine your kids having a lot of shared identity facets with you, and maybe anyone who has identities who, like, if they're marrying someone who has different identities from them, knowing that their kids won't fully relate to their experience growing up. It's just, like, an interesting feeling to be like, wow, I had this experience, and that kind of was core to who I was growing up and who I am today. And my kids aren't going to be able to relate to that in the way that maybe I always kind of pictured.
Yeah, I think I will, and, you know, I'm not there yet. Again, and I want to be clear, it's like, well, they can also celebrate Hanukkah and all these other things and, like, have Jewish identities. Sure, but again, I want to remind listeners and watchers that the identity part of it is not celebrating Christmas, is feeling different. And why am I wishing upon the kids? I don't know, but that is, like, who I am, and I feel, like, antithetical to, like, people who celebrate Christmas, and the idea that, like, my kids aren't gonna have that as, like, part of, like, the Jewish, quote, experience of, like, I don't know why that's important to me. Like, you can, like, break that down with, like, the idea that, like, we felt like full Jews with the fact that, like, both of our parents were Jewish and we didn't have any semblance of Christian in our home. Like, we kept that very, like, it felt like, no, we have this full identity because every part of us is aligned with this.
And I think you could break that down historically. I think, you know, obviously there's a long history of, in Christianity, there's a real emphasis on bringing other people into your religion. And so that's something that, and that's not a part of Judaism.
Actively,
like there's people who convert to,
making it difficult for people to convert.
Yeah, and people do convert, but it really like the belief is that it has to be like your soul was born Jewish and you were actually born into a different body or a different family, and so like you really have to be like wanting it authentic to convert, and it's a long process. Obviously, there are converts to Judaism, and we absolutely, the idea is like you accept them as 100% equal, but there is no effort to recruit people to Judaism, and so if you're Jewish, you know, being that religious minority, you're constantly experiencing in your life. Like, I know we've each had people like friends, community members of all facets, even just people who ring your doorbell who are at various points like trying to bring you into that. And historically, of course, there's been like way worse atrocities associated with forced conversion. And so that's just kind of all running through your DNA, I think. And there's this feeling of like, no, I'm setting this firm boundary of like, I'm practicing my religion. And I don't know, even if you know that it's not breaking your religious identity, like if you know who you are, it's just a weird feeling. I don't know. Yeah.
As we grew up, and I think they became more and more comfortable allowing us, or just giving us opportunities to just like, whatever, we're going over to another second cousin's they celebrate Easter. So we're just like going to go over and like do the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And that never felt like, that was just like, whatever, it's not our holiday, but we're helping them. Kind of similarly to how I imagine if I went to a different country and they were celebrating, like, I'm literally just thinking, like, if I went to China during Chinese New Year's, I would probably participate. But again, I wouldn't feel like it was my holiday, and I wouldn't feel like it's like changing my identity in any way, is like how I feel.
Right.
I will say how I imagine forming the balance is to just, in general, kind of de-center Christmas in the home. We will probably have a Christmas tree, but we will not be doing Santa.
I completely disagree on this. So no judgment
Missy
here.
Completely disagrees with me. That is my belief. That's fine. We just have very different beliefs. Yeah. Then I think that it will be more like we don't necessarily open gifts at our house on Christmas, but we'll go to Lucas's family's house, or, you know, like we'll go to grandparents' house. And a lot of people do that anyway. Like they go to a family member's house for Christmas. And so that celebration is more like, it's more important to Lucas's side of the family. So like that is where they will engage more with it. And to not, again, like it'll be a part of who they are, but it is not going to be like a big focus in the home, is how I view it.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what we'll do. I think, I think more about it for myself nowadays, because I feel like I get like a little lowercase t triggered around this time. Like it's just
so hard to explain.
It's so minor. It's really hard to explain to people who haven't experienced it. And also, again, I just like never want to insinuate. I know it's an extremely major holiday for Christians,
but
and
me,
just even a really big holiday, even if people aren't religious.
The fact that it is hard for us to celebrate because we aren't religious. Like, to me, I'm like, I see that this is a very American holiday for you, and this is a very meaningful holiday for you. That is why I'm having trouble also just like celebrating it very culturally.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think where I honestly struggle more is actually in the more kind of quote unquote secular celebrations of Christmas, when it's like an office party, when it's like just you're going to a store and everything's Christmas. Like and it's tricky. I don't really know what my proposed solution is, because I don't, I understand it's like a really exciting time for people and they want to go out all out, and I think they have the right to do that and they should do that. I don't always think that it's like, obviously you want to like appeal to every group and make everyone feel comfortable, but I also don't think it's always possible. I don't really know what I want
is just acknowledgement that not everyone celebrates Christmas. That is all I want. Yeah. I don't want you to change anything except for the fact that if you're in North Jersey, there's an understanding that like there is a Jewish population around here. So like maybe when I'm pumping your gas for you,
or people who just of all backgrounds who don't celebrate.
But I guess what I'm saying, I'm not talking about middle of nowhere Wisconsin. I don't know if there's a Jewish or frankly any population of people there that's significant to celebrate Christmas. I have no idea. Maybe I'm surprised. What I'm talking about is like we are in places in the world where there are the significant portion of the population, right, that does not celebrate Christmas. And people have like zero awareness of that. And it's not that when you say Merry Christmas to me, I am in no way like, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that to me. But I'm also like, thanks. Like, it's like you just said happy birthday to me and it's not my birthday. Like, it's like, oh, well, that's kind of a nice thing to say, but like, it's not my birthday. But like, it's your birthday. Like,
it's so tricky. I know. It's like, I don't really
I want them
know
to say happy holidays.
I think Another thing that's tough for me is I do think there's been this movement toward happy holidays, and that's probably the best solution. But I have issues. I have issues with that for other reasons, which is that this isn't our quote unquote holidays, really. Like, yes, we have Hanukkah, but like Eve, honestly, like, our holidays,
season. Even like Thanksgiving, it's like holiday season to me.
Our New Year's is different. Like, I don't know, just different things.
A lot of people celebrate New Year's.
If you get into it. Yes. But what I will say, too, is that I encounter a lot when it's just a Christmas thing. People are like, oh, I'm so sorry, a holiday song.
Yes.
And it's like,
I agree with that.
And
calling
it's like,
no, Starbucks cup
that's a Christmas song.
Cup. Like, no, it's actually more offensive.
It's a Christmas cup.
Offensive, but like, I'm like, don't try to pull a fast one on me. I don't care that there's a Starbucks Christmas cup. Just call it a Christmas cup. That to me is weirder.
Just be honest.
Because, like, why does everyone celebrate your holiday? Like, no, just
you go in. Yeah, if you go into, like, your office space or wherever you are, you're a store, and it's green and red Christmas trees, and they're like, we have holiday decorations. That's not a holiday decoration.
I'll let you get away with it
Christmas
a little bit. Have, like, New Year's decorations up, like, okay, then holidays. But no, I agree. If you're just talking about Christmas, it is a holiday season. You know, like.
Yeah.
In general, there's like all these things that I'm like, just change your language a little bit. Like, we were like talking to people that know I'm Jewish. I know they're not thinking about it, but people that know me very well, like very well. You know, I'm not even saying an acquaintance. That will be like, what are you doing for Christmas break? I'm like, nothing, because but it's like, kind of, yes, now I have a Christmas tree. So like I
know that's where the identity gets murky.
But why would you assume?
So for instance, like we like, I've been in situations in my past before I was with Jacob where I'd be like, you know, there's like a secret Santa or a secret snowflake. People try to
that doesn't like, why does that not offend me at all? I'm like, secret Santa, it's a better name.
And people are like, it's secret snowflake. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay.
Of what is actually quote offensive.
Yeah. But whatever. And people also, we're two people who people might feel differently, but and then it's like a secret snowflake, but like everyone gets people like Christmas socks that are like green and red, and like including me, like someone doesn't know, or like I don't know. I feel like I've been in almost always in my life like spaces where I'm like one of the only or the only Jewish person in that space. Like growing up, that was our town, and I just feel like in like pretty much, unless I've like intentionally sought out like a Jewish community, I have not, just the places I've worked and lived, like pretty much only been in spaces where I'm like the sole representative or one of like two people. So people forget or don't realize, and they like get me Christmas socks or something. And in my past, I've been like, I actually would sometimes start writing on those things. Like, I don't celebrate Christmas. Like, for instance, if it's like, what do you want for Secret Snowflake? And people are like, scrunchies, hats, whatever. I would sometimes write, just so you know, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I don't have as much use for Christmas items, right? But now I feel this like conflict where I'm like, I still feel like I want to write that because I feel it just feels weird to me to receive those items when it's just not my holiday. Again, it would be like Allie was saying, like receiving a birthday hat on a day that's not your birthday.
Like, it's not offensive.
And you're like,
it just like doesn't feel
it's not
right.
offensive. It's just like, it feels weird to me. But then all of a sudden you like, it's not a great analogy because this couldn't be the case, but like that day becomes somewhat significant to you. Like maybe it is your partner's birthday and you're like, oh, I guess I could have a birthday hat to celebrate that, but it's not my birthday. I don't know. It's a weird comparison. And I don't know if people can get that, but it's like, I guess, but I don't want people to think it's my birthday because it's not my birthday. But I guess I could celebrate it. I mean,
people used to be floored. Like, I think
know.
It just comes from like truly, it's hard to now kind of like be doing something more on Christmas. Because literally when we used to be like, we just do nothing on Christmas, people were like, what? What about the day before? Do you guys do any gifts? Like, they cannot understand the concept of just truly not celebrating it. I'm like, it is like a normal day. Can you believe it? Like, so the idea that now I'm like, ooh, I'm now a little bit part of this.
I guess I am doing something.
I got
I know, it's weird. It's weird.
Very hard
yeah.
It's not that deep, but it feels that deep.
I don't know.
Is it that deep?
It's not that deep, but it is that deep. And I guess we were thinking of we were thinking about talking about this topic, and I think we were like, how are we going to relate this to mental health? Is this even really a fit for the podcast? And I guess maybe the through line to mental health is that it can be valid sometimes if you just have something that is hitting a nerve for you. And it's not to say that everyone needs to now be working to make you, like to make sure that nerve never gets hit again, because that's just, it might be inevitable. And like we said, I don't expect people to like stop celebrating Christmas or being excited about it or having their green and red, whatever. Like, of course, I understand it's very important and it's a huge part of people's lives.
And so, your own family or friends Christmas party and I'm invited, I have no problem with that. But if my workplace,
and I love that, I'm so touched,
I am a part of, is throwing a party, I would want it to be more inclusive, is how I would put it.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I feel like, I don't really know. It doesn't fit cleanly into how a lot of other times we might think about inclusivity, or there's certain things that I think just don't fit, that the puzzle pieces don't fit in the same ways that we often think about so many other identities. And so it's really hard to really sit down and think like, what is it that I would want from this space? And of course, I'm just one person. We're just two people. Like, other people who are Jewish might be sitting here listening and being like, I don't agree with that at all. Or I had a totally different experience. Or maybe I really want people to be saying happy holidays only. Or I prefer that if a playlist is being played, even if it's really only Christmas music, we refer to it as holiday music. I don't know. I personally don't like that, but it's like, that's just me.
If
and so I don't expect people to like have to read everyone's mind.
Music, I expect it to be a well mix of like, I want there to be the Hanukkah song from Adam Sandler. Like, I want there to be like I want there to be also many holidays included in this holiday mix.
Or maybe it's like just a very neutral, let it snow, winter wonderland. Like maybe I'm it's like that vibe. I don't know.
Playlist today on Spotify, and like I'm like, instead of searching Christmas, I'm searching holiday, and it's all Christmas songs. I'm like, that didn't make it better.
That's not a holiday playlist. Yeah.
I know. It is hard. I think anyway, what I would encourage people to do is to, if you're talking to someone you don't know, don't always assume that they're celebrating the holiday that you are. And number two, that if you know that someone does or doesn't celebrate a holiday, just like ask them what they do. Like, just be inquisitive, learn about what they do, and then like you don't have to judge, like whatever. Like if they tell you I don't do anything for Christmas because I don't celebrate it, you don't have to be like shocked. Don't act like they're crazy. If they say that they're Jewish and they do celebrate Christmas, like let it go. Like that is just like everyone's going to be an individual and how they approach the holidays. There's going to be different situations. So, you know, in this time where people like can be sensitive, and I am sensitive.
I feel like normally when people are saying that, it's like much deeper topics, like people have experienced loss, and obviously that's a whole other topic we haven't talked about and is something that can be a really profound. We're here talking about something that's very minor.
Very minor.
But obviously there are genuinely very hard things that people are dealing with over the holidays too. And so that's an additional thing to keep in mind, that there's many people are very excited and just full on in the Christmas spirit, and that's amazing.
I love it. I love when people love to celebrate their holidays.
I love that for you.
Nothing against that. I have nothing against Starbucks doing a Christmas cup. Again, just call it a Christmas cup. Like, just because you say it's the holidays.
Yeah.
Just be real about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you want to be inclusive, be real about that inclusivity. And I always appreciate that. But you don't have to. That's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just be mindful of who you're talking to. I think honestly, I even hesitate to say to people, you should say this thing or don't say this thing, because I think it can get even hairier. Yeah, it can get even more awkward or sticky if people are worried about saying the wrong thing, and become awkward around talking to you around the holidays.
Also, it's like one thing if you're like packing groceries in the grocery store and it's literally Christmas Eve to say Merry Christmas, because it's like, it's of the day.
Yeah.
You know,
if I'm on Christmas, if someone wishes me,
it's very different versus like, it's December 10th. And like,
right.
The person who knows you're Jewish is wishing you Merry Christmas. It's like, okay. Like, why you gotta bring that up?
Yeah. I don't know. I think honestly, if you're listening to this episode and this isn't something you've reflected on before, or you're someone who's like now feeling way less sure of how to move into the holiday season, I would say don't worry too much about saying the wrong thing. If you're listening to this, I'm sure we're big girls, big boys. Like, do you know how many people say Merry Christmas to me? Like, you're not going to be the one to like offend me. Don't worry about that. I would say
just your intention in your heart, and you are called. For example, if you see someone with a cross on their neck, you can probably make the assumption that Merry Christmas is the way to go, right? But if you see someone with a Jewish star, or obviously Jewish, or you don't know,
or you just don't know,
maybe just say Happy Holidays if you want to say something like that.
Yeah, and just maybe keep a more open mind. I think, again, we can't speak for everyone. Speaking for myself, I think when people are genuinely curious and open and just have an open mind about it is when I feel the most supported. I think when people are really nervous,
they're like,
or they're like, does your family do anything for Hanukkah? Or I'm so sorry, I said Merry Christmas. Like, I didn't mean that. And you're like, it's okay. Don't even, now I feel more awkward, right? Like, I think it's tricky. I think the two extremes can be what are most tricky, when someone's like steadfast and like making everything Christmas and not being even mindful about you. Again, I'm not counting like actual Christmas. If you're hosting a Christmas party or it's on Christmas or Christmas Eve, obviously that's different. But if you're like in a workplace or just on the street or something like that, a store, people who are steadfast in not trying to be inclusive, that can be tricky. And then also what can be tricky is when people are like too worried about it and it gets awkward. So I think
feel the vibes.
If you're in those more casual experience, again, we're not talking about, for the millionth time, we're not talking about like you're hosting a Christmas party, or it is Christmas, or it's Christmas Eve, or it's like the day before. Like, that can be a little bit different. But I think if it's outside of those spaces, just in December and you're just meeting someone you don't know that well, like, maybe just having an open mind is the way to go. I know that's not very specific advice, but I actually do think
that is my advice.
Being pure of heart.
Be pure of heart. And if someone
is the way to go.
Just says like, I have this memory of like truly just being like, about? I just remember like being in dance class. I was probably like 3 or 4, and it was like you brought your parents in, and they all went around like, what do you want under your Christmas tree? And every single little ballerina dancer who's like 3 or 4 in their little tights and whatever is like, I want this, I want this. Gets to me, I was like, I don't have a Christmas tree. Or the parents weren't in there or something. So then the teacher, I think the teacher came out and was like, oh my gosh, is there like money problems? Like they thought there was like something wrong that I didn't have a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Or like, just as a child, like truly living in a world, I feel like that's just an example where like they cannot even fathom that someone doesn't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, I remember too. I remember dance recital. I had like a, again, quote unquote, holiday dance recital when I was growing up. That was like only Christmas songs, Christmas tree, Christmas trimmings in the background. We're all wearing green and red. And I just remember feeling so like kind of othered in that space. I don't know. I was just like, this isn't not my birthday party. Like everyone thinks it's my birthday and it's not my birthday. It's like maybe the best analogy that you can give, where you're just like, this feels weird. I'm trying to tell you all that my birthday is in September or whatever it is. Like, and they're like, your birthday. Yeah, we get that, but it's like, your birthday. No. And you're like, no, you don't get that. Clearly. I'm going to say it one more time. Like, I don't know. It's just, and they're like, but it's fine. We're all just birthdaying today. And you're like, okay, sure. You invited my parents to this? I don't know. It's just weird. It's just like, I just remember feeling so out. This was like a set of canon events, I feel like. I think it's interesting too, because I feel like I have a lot of friends who are Jewish now who can't really relate to this as much because they grew up in much more Jewish spaces. So they didn't grow up they didn't have this like experience growing up where they had to almost like fight for their not celebrating Christmas. It was just much more normative in their community to not celebrate Christmas. So it was kind of like, okay, sure, like other people outside our community
it felt
are
like
celebrating
we never
it, but
had
like
a break
in our
from,
town,
like, being around people that assumed we celebrated Christmas or assumed we were a certain way, and then thought we were weird for not celebrating Christmas. So it felt like you
thought we were weird, or that we had a worse life, or that it was just so sad, whatever, kind of pitied us for it. And that's just a weird feeling when you're like, no, I'm proud of my different identity. I don't like wish that I had yours. I respect yours, and I think that's amazing that you love your holiday. But I'm not sad. Like, I have my own good things about my identity, and that's okay. I don't know.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know if there's any other holidays in here, but
I know. Please let us know. And this is where we may have our own blind spots. I'm sure we do. So comment below if there's any other holidays you celebrate around this time of year, or if you have, maybe you're not Jewish, but you relate to this. I know obviously we focus mostly on Judaism, Christianity here, because that's what we can relate to most. But if you have different identities or different religion, or from a different religion, and you have other times of year that you wish people maybe like understood about more, that are important to your faith or religion or culture, let us know, because I think that's interesting. Anyway.
Love you guys. Bye.